Good evening, everyone. We are here with creative partner Mary Snyder. Welcome to our live tonight. She is going to be showcasing DIY styles. She creates some very cute DIY styles pieces. We asked her to get on this craft in tonight and kind of share with everyone what she makes, because she likes to put them inside of tier trays. So for National Craft Month, we are featuring DIY styles. We're featuring a course that you can purchase on learning how to create DIY styles, decor like this. We're also doing a sale on certain DIY styles items. So Mary, if you want to introduce yourself, and I'll share this over to the Play to Create group real quick.
Hello, everyone. I'm Mary Snyder, a creative partner from just about the beginning, maybe off a couple months from when they started. But I've grown a strong love for QB Lane. So it was a pleasure when they asked me to show you guys how I made these projects. And I actually went and made another set today. So I'll be able to show you that also. I don't know. I didn't get my wood pieces out. Do you think I need to get some?
If you want to showcase the before and after, I think that's always helpful with DIY styles, especially as we're learning to create with them, what the beginning product looked like, and then how you made it your own and like the finished product.
All right, give me 1 second then. I'm right here.
I shared into the comments of the Craftin' on Facebook the link to our National Craftin' landing page. This is a landing page that all our information for National Craft Month can be found. That sale I was talking about on DIY styles items, where you can purchase the course on learning how to create DIY styles, just like Mary is going to show you tonight in the Craftin'. If you're joining us, say hello. And drop a comment. We love to interact with you on Facebook. I would love to know if you have played with the DIY styles. Our latest release we just did in February featured 3 new DIY styles. We had the wreath, the blessings in bloom, and we did also like the 3D jasmine a la carte, which could be used on DIY styles. So if you've played with any of those fun brand new things, let us know in the comments. I know Mary is going to be showing you something she made that has the new release items from February in there. Hi Marcia, hi Debbie, hi Ginger. Perfect, thanks for joining us.
Okay, I'm back. I think I got it all anyway.
Perfect, Mary. Okay, so do you see the comments on your laptop?
Let me minimize this.
If you pull up there, you'll see the comments of people, if anyone has questions.
No, where do I get the comments again?
So when you pull up the video, it'll be called the live chat.
You're going. All right, I see the live here, but I don't see any comments. Let me see something. All right, now I got the comments. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, well then Mary, I am gonna hop off. I am gonna be watching this, so if you need me to hop back on, let me know.
Okay.
And I'm gonna let you take it over from here.
All right.
Okay.
Well, hello everyone. I'm glad you could make it. To me, this is just a fun project to do, and you can do it at, it's not a lot of figuring out ahead of time, because you're going to start with a few pieces and you just have to pick your pieces and then a theme. I like, Sonia said, I like doing the 3-tier tray or 2-tier. Actually, I have a 2-tier right here, but so I put one of each of these wood pieces on each tray, I mean, each, section. For this one in particular, I wanted to use the truck and be able to change out the seasons on here. And we have a set of templates that are called Tiny Seasons. And so they come with like all different templates for the different seasons of the year, like Halloween and Christmas and Easter and summer and 4th of July, all these different ones. So when I picked my color, this is an unusual color, but when I picked my color, I tried to think, would I be able to make, what color would I be able to make for all of the seasons? And surely I could have come up with something different, but at the time I was working on Christmas and I thought, you know what, let's do a green, but let's do a different kind of green, not your typical, dark green or pine green. So my first thing was, anyway, these come with the set. And if anyone's not familiar with this template set, let me show you this template set. It works really great with the truck, works great. They're nice size also to use on your layouts also. But let me just show you these pieces here. And then I'll show you kind of what I made with them. I keep them in the back here of my actual template set. And like I said, I wanted them all to kind of match this. So I started off with the Christmas, and I'm going to show you these shapes first. Let's back up a minute. So we have here the circle, which is called a shiplap circle. And you actually could do 2 different sides if you wanted to, but I prefer this side. I love the little indentations for where the lines are. You can use that for a lot of different things, such as you could put strips of different colored paper in here. You can paint it. You could paint part of it and leave the other one, maybe put a light stain on it. You see a lot of these like bigger, but on doors with, like a bow of different flowers up top. So what I did was I had taken this circle and I used a white acrylic paint, but I watered it down. I didn't want it as thick as this. But the one I did today, which I will show you later, I used it's like a chalk paint. So they work really well. And so I just paint the whole thing. I let it dry and then I sand it down to distress it a little bit. And on this particular one, I actually dry brushed, and I don't know if you can see it here. I dry brushed a little bit of brown on top. I mean, very, very, very light brown. I'll give it a chance to check up here, see if you can see it. Very little, but there's a little bit through here and I just dry brushed on top of it. That's the base. That's all I did with the base here. Then I got my truck out, and my truck, I'm backing up. I started telling you about the templates, and I should just tell you about how I put this together first. So the truck comes in several pieces. You've got the main truck. Then you've got 2 bumpers. One goes on the back and one goes on the front. Okay. And then you have the little rail in the back. and the rail would go there. It's nice that they're separate, so you can paint them separate colors if you want. What I did was, and here again, you have it. So you would basically have these pieces first. And I painted the bumpers a cream acrylic, cream colored. I just use any old acrylic paint. This is Cream Coat by Delta, and it's a light ivory, and that's what I did the bumpers. As far as the truck itself, I use a green lime color. I know it was in here. Lime color. I mean, it looks really bright, the green. So I wanted to tone that down a little bit. So I added a little bit of brown, and I just take a tray and I put it on the tray and I mix it up. I might add a little bit of water because I don't want it as thick on here. And what I painted was, I painted the base of the truck, which is all this part. You don't have to worry about going to the bumpers or the tires. You don't do that part yet. And this part right here, I did paint it green, but I painted over it with the silver afterwards for the light, the headlights and the taillights. So you got the base of the truck, and then the doorknob, I used a silver, which these paints are great. They're from Liquitex and they're just acrylics, but they're a nice, nice consistency. And so I did the doorknob, and I did the lights with the silver, and then the runner down here on the bottom, I did that silver. And after that, let's take these off here. After that, I did take black and I went around the tire, the outer part of the tire. I took white. You got black, you got white. I did the inside circle. And then the very center of the circle, I used the silver again. And when it was dry, I took very light sand and just sanded over the top, wiped it off, and then I actually glue these pieces on. Okay, they get glued on. And then as far as this goes, the rail I did in a cream, and after I'm done, when it dries, I glue it on, and you have the bottom of the rail here, you can put a little dab of glue, and on the sides, and you just rest it on the top like so, and then your truck is done. As far as that goes, so it's not, I mean, I don't know how long it took, maybe, I don't know, I'm guessing because I don't remember, maybe 20 minutes, I'm thinking. And then you can glue it down, but when you go to glue your truck down, okay, your rail is on top of here. And if you want, which is what I'm going to show you, I turn it around and I glue this part around the window, the front of the truck and the wheel. And I go all the way across along the bottom of the truck around the wheel, but I leave this area from here to the window. So this whole area right here, I don't put any glue down because I'm going to be slipping stuff behind here. Okay, so when I put that down, I'm going to slip it down. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I first wanted more space behind my truck, and I used originally like a thicker glue dot. It didn't work. I came to look at my truck the other day and I'm like, this whole thing had slipped down. So today I just took the glue dots off and glued it. So This is a little snug, but it works, but it's snug. And I'll show you what I did here. So I have the tree, okay, and you can kind of lift it up a little bit. See what I mean? Like it's snug. So if you can perhaps put a piece of cardstock or two, and this is thick because I put heavy dots of stickles on there, but I gotta slip something underneath here. Hold on. I'm getting a knife. See if this works. Let me see if this works a little bit. I probably should have put cardstock there to make it just that tad bit tight, looser. There we go. And I had the tree. Let's see what else I had with it. Look at the package here. I guess you could make a present, but I didn't have the present on there. And I guess I might have had, I guess I could have had the topiary on here, like there were lights on it. I could have, and if you see, I made the topiary the same kind of colors. It's got the green and gold. I'm trying to think, did I use a star? I could have used a star. You could add a star in there. You know, you can just stick whatever you want in there. So you have these shapes that came with that set. For Easter, I have a rabbit, which I made, and I like a lot of different textures with my shapes. So this has a shimmer to it, and the white has a shimmer also when I made the rabbit, and then I just used epoxy dots for the eyes and the nose. And these just, again, they slip in there, and you can, change it to Easter. You have a little bit of a banner, okay? And I wanted the banner to go with every holiday. I wanted it permanently on there. So I used the green, and I added this, it's kind of a grayish blue. Again, let me show you these. This is scrap paper, but if you can see it, there's a shimmer to this paper, and all the paper I used were scraps. And again, there's a shimmer to the gold. You see that? I see it on there now. There's the gold. And so I use the same papers. I pull out some papers and I use them to make all of my shapes at the same time. So I know they're going to go with what I originally planned. So I have that color. This is the green color that I used. I don't know who makes them, but I do have on the bottom of this. This was from Paper Adventures. I'm sure these are like super old, but I have a container that I use, that I put my paper that's like shimmery. And then I can just go in and use the scraps. I pulled out a white shimmer. I used all shimmer paper, and I pulled out a light pink. So they all pretty much go together, and I tried to keep my holidays all within this color scheme right here, except for the Christmas tree. All right, so we have the topiary, And we have the bunny. Let me see, do we have any comments here? Hello. There's the tiny seasons. Foam tape, probably, but you don't want it too loose either. You want it to be tight enough to hold your things in place. I think just loosening that up really helped a lot. As you can see, I'm gonna do the 4th of July. See how it just slips down there now really nice. I got the flag, and if you can see, I didn't get the red out, but the red is sorry about that. The red has a shimmer also too, but there's the blue, which brings in the bluish green that's here. I have another star that we can put back here. We have the stars from the inside of them, which is nice. Here's the template. So you can make a bigger star, you can make a smaller star, you can make it an open star. This is just a solid star here. I made another open star. You know, you can move it around wherever you want the flag to be. So that's like a 4th of July, even though those colors really aren't, but I tried to incorporate it through here. So you have the flag that comes with it, which looks like this. That's seasons 9 out of 10. There's 10 pieces to this. And then the stars look like this. You have the stars, and then here's the topiary. It's really cute. And then you have the bunny. Now I reversed the bunny because I wanted him looking out the back. So there's the bunny. Here is the garland here. Okay. And then I have Halloween, which they have a ghost and they have a cute pumpkin. So you can put one pumpkin, you can put a couple pumpkins. I think I made like 3 pumpkins here. So for Halloween, you can, have that. Okay. The colors again, they all go together. The pumpkin shape looks like this, which I've used lots of times on layouts that I've used, done. And these things come in this set you can use on your scrapbooking pages, and it's great. Here's the oh, I'm not getting it in there, am I? Oh yeah, I am. Okay. I'm looking at here's the pumpkin next to the ghost. Then we have the fall, which I'm going to go back to these pumpkins again. And I've got leaves that can go with them. And when I go to cut my leaves out again, the shape is like this, but I make sure I get some going the other way also, not all of them going the same way. So I just flip it over and trace it that way. And what I did, I just added a little bit of detail to the insides of the leaves, making those veins on them. The green, the same thing. I used like a gel pen and a jelly roll pen. And then you have the summer, which I'm going to use that topiary again, and I'm going to mix it with some strawberries in the back. It's really cute. I mean, you don't have to have the topiary. You can just fill it up with like strawberries if you'd like. And the strawberry template looks like this. And I actually used it last month in the monthly kit that had the larger strawberries, so they worked well together. And those are actually all the different shapes. So you can make your little, I like to make the whole set so I know that they kind of went together. And then, like I said, I just stick them in the back of my pack here, and they're ready to go from season to season. And then I just take, this is kind of like, this ribbon is kind of like a burlap bow, and I had it in my stash. I don't know where I got it from, but it kind of, matches that green color, and that's how I came with it. But I like to use lace a lot. So before I tied it off, I added some old antique lace in here and then tied it and just glued it to the top. And the other thing I used, I had it right here, is I do like using this pom-pom trim. And you just take your trim and work from the back. Let me see, I just used regular glue, probably this Nuvo glue is what I used. I love this glue, and it dries pretty quickly. So I just fed it around the back part with the pom-poms hanging out, and that's how I got a little bit of, added something to it. I did not, this isn't hanging up, so I don't have anything on here, but you could probably put, if you were going to hang it up somewhere, you could put one of those picture frame hooks on the back. Let me see, are there any questions here? Any questions on what I've shown so far? I believe these are on sale this month too. The circles. So this is something that you could keep for every, tier tray that you do throughout the year. It doesn't have to be just one particular season. And then, let me see, no questions. Okay, no questions. And then the house shape, which looks like this, it's the same on the front and the back. It's just the smooth wood. I covered it with a paper that looks like wood flooring. And what I do is, okay, I take my piece, my wood piece. Here, I'll do it with this one. And you can paint it, you can stain it. This one I'm covering it with paper. And what you can do is roughly trace it, but I cut it a little bit bigger, like, I don't know, maybe 1/8 of an inch bigger, because I like to go around it after I glue it on with a file and sand the paper off, and then it matches up perfectly with the edges. I don't know if you can see. So what I do is I take Mod Podge, which is this stuff, and I use a matte finish, and I take one of my sponge brushes. I guess I didn't bring it in here. I left it out in the kitchen. Looks like oh, here's one. So it looks like this. And this is what I apply my Mod Podge on. And I put it on the wood. Some people put it on the paper, but it sticks better if you put it on the wood. So I put it on pretty, not thin. I want it to kind of, as it dries, to pull it onto the wood. So it's, generously glued on here. You don't want it, when you put the paper on, goozing out everywhere, but you want it enough on there. So you put the glue on the wood, you put your paper on, and you can use a braille, but you don't have to. And you just go around and, push it down everywhere, rub it on. And then what you're left with is like a little edge around it. And I take then my, did I leave it out? Yeah. You can use a sanding block, or you can use a sander like this. And you just, let's just say this was on here. You just go along your edge. And as you do it, the paper where it meets the edge of the wood kind of separates, and you can kind of peel it off then and just finish it off, and just go around the whole thing until all of the paper is off and even with this. And as you can see, there's nothing hanging over anywhere. It really is nice. Okay. The other thing is I took another template set from the plant section. And the plant section, the plant template set, Tiny Plants it's called. That's another one of my favorite. And this particular template from this set is one of my favorites. Let me get it out. I think I like it because you can shape it to flow, like over the edge of something, over the edge of a pot. You could put it on the pot instead of just sticking straight up like something like this. And then if you want it on the other side, you can flip it over and do the same thing. And that's kind of what I did here. I just cut out 3 of them, and with that green shimmer paper, I inked the sides very gently. And then I took the Live Simply, let me see. I took the Live Simply wooden piece. It's all one piece. I didn't do anything to it. Same thing. I kind of put it on top of the wood house, and kind of where I wanted it. Put it on there. So if I took the house, I knew I wanted it somewhere around here. When I cut my leaves out, I kind of put them where I wanted them, adhered them, and I just used my tape gun, my adhesive, my regular adhesive. You can glue it on there, or I just used adhesive, but I adhered some of those leaves with the 3D foam. So some of these leaves are popped up. I wanted to give it some dimension. I wanted it hanging over. So I kind of just adhered this middle part, and then I went in and I put some foam pot dots behind them. Same thing with these 2. And then I went in and I took this again. Like when I do these, I kind of like them, trying to make them go together, match as the seasons change. So this could be any season here, Live Simply. And here I would just change them out. But so I try to use the same paper and products that I used on this side here. I can add a little bit, but I added my trim down here. Again, I adhered it with my glue. I cut it off, but then I took a couple of these balls and I cut them off, and I wanted them to look like berries on here. So I added some of them on. And then one last thing that I did on here was I took my stickles and I put it on rather thick, but I put it on the dots for this eye, the dot on the eye on live and on the word simply. And I just let them dry, and they dry pretty thick. And the same thing, I just took, I guess this is all I had of this one, and I just made a bow and adhered it onto the top. And that's all I did there. So that's that set. Now I'm going to show you another set that I did, but I'm going to put this stuff away first and look to see if you guys have any questions. Are there any questions so far? No questions? Has anyone tried these yet? Has anyone made any? Hi, Lisa. Have any of you made any of these yet? Played with them? Are thinking of getting them? Because they keep adding onto it, and they're really nice. Like I said, I would recommend them. It's an easy project. It goes quickly. You can personalize it with, you know, any of your colors themed. You know, maybe you have a different color theme in your house. My family room's kind of got the greens in it, so probably that's another reason I picked that. Like I said, I just store these in here. And that's it. Now, the other thing that I did today was, and yesterday, I made a set for Easter, since it's coming up, and I've got a show that I'm going to the second week of April. And I want to have some samples of some things done there. So that set, let me show you that set. That's also using some of the new releases that just came out. This set is for Easter or the spring. I mean, you can leave this up and put other spring decorations in your tier. So there's this one, and here, same concept, but I use the chalk paint up top, and then I use patterned paper on the bottom. And the same thing, I sanded the side off and I inked it all around after I was done. We have a couple new pieces here. One of them is this. It's called a wreath. I love it. I can see using two of them. You can use them on the snap frames if you want, but it comes like this, and I just put it there. But what I did here, the technique that I used is I painted them green, okay, first, and then I watered down my chalk paint. After that dried, I watered down my chalk paint and painted white over the top, and then I sanded it. And that's where it gets kind of like a chalky look to it. Same thing with the blessings in bloom. I used relatively, it was kind of like a much brighter pink than this, and it tones it down. I put the white chalk ink over top and I sand it. I don't know if you can see it up close. I'm going to try and look. Got to give me 1 second till we catch up. And no more questions. Let's see. Can you see? I'm going to move it down now a little bit. There we go. So that's a nice look to me. I like that look. I wanted it kind of distressed looking. So that's where I painted these wood pieces and painted the bottom and used patterned paper. And then I thought I wanted to try crepe paper because I really like crepe paper, but I don't use it very often. I don't know why, but so I took the new Jasmine template and I made both layers, the bigger one and the smaller one. So 2 of 3 and 3 of 3. And I traced them out of pink crepe paper. And the way I had to think about this because I don't know if there's any instructions anywhere or not, but I wondered how you put it together. And basically you're going to, there's a little notch here and a notch at this, and you're just going to connect those notches because you want 5 petals. At first I thought the petal went under the other petal, but no, it's just those little notches. So it gives it a little bit of a cup look to it. And I cut both of them out of the pink, a light pink crepe paper. And then I took the same paint that I used here on the words, the pink, and I took out mostly all the paint off the brush and just did a light dry brush in the middle of the petals on both ends. And it comes with the center of the flowers. It's a circle. It's an oblong circle. It's not really a true circle, but I cut that out of a glitter felt, which you can't really tell. And then I put a cluster of pearls on top of it. So I kind of like the flimsy look to the flower. It just makes it more natural looking, kind of, even though it's paper, you know. And I glued a bunch of flowers, and I believe the white flowers are from Webster's Pages. I don't even know if they're around anymore. And the other ones, I don't remember who they're from, but they're from my stash of tiny flowers. I added some pearls to bring in the pearls again from over here. I added them as the dots to the blessings in bloom. So I'm gonna show you tomorrow how I'm gonna post a picture of it in a tier, but I wanted to show you the greenery that I got with it to go with it. And it has just a little bit of pink, and I just thought it would really come together pretty nice. So that's another thing, you get to decorate something again, but it's got a little bit of pink in it. So I thought it would really make it pop. So like I said before, I like to incorporate the same product onto the house piece. And this one's not so much detailed like that. Oh, I wanted to tell you one more thing about the edge here. This edge is actually twine, a thicker twine, you know, that grayish brown color. Let me get the piece that I use. So this is what I used. This was something I had used on another project. They're pieces, they're not even whole, but it's a twine. And I took 3 pieces and I braided them really tight. Okay. And I guess I braided, I don't know, maybe 3-foot section. And I tied it at the top Then I started braiding, and I braided it to the end, and I tied it at the bottom. And then I went and watered down my chalk paint again, and I painted it with the white. And that's where I got this. And I with my hot glue gun, I attached it after it dried on its side, so you could see the braid all around it. But one nice thing about it is that paint keeps it together. So when I went to cut it and fit it on here, it didn't come apart. And if you look on the back, this is where they're attached. I just cut it, no knot, no nothing. And I thought, not that you can't really tell there, but that's why the flower is where it is. And that's where I started to put the rope on. But I thought it gave it a really cool look. Didn't cost nothing really, hardly, except for the paint. And I liked that, again, that vintage feel to it again. So kind of like a wicker look. So I took that same thing, and this is from the same paper pack, which is this authentique paper pack. And it's a different pattern, but it has the roses, and I did the background the same way I showed you on the other side. And this, and then I added the rope again for the roof. Then I took this egg hunt template set, and I made the rabbit. Now, you don't have to make it like I did, but I took the rabbit and I cut it out of white paper. And then I took my Mod Podge and I took a piece of, oh my word, my mind just went blank here. Help me out, guys. What's the paper called that is like cotton with threads in it, and you can wet it and pull it apart? Oh my word, what's it called? You rarely see it anymore. Anybody there? I'll remember it. But anyway, you put this, it's like a tissue paper, but it's not tissue paper. And you lay it on top of your paper and then let it dry. And you wet it around the edge of the rabbit. And you pull it off. So then it gives this fuzzy look to it, like it's fur on top of your bunny. Again, you can just use paper, same effect, or I wanted it to look fuzzy here. So that's how I did the rabbit. And then the basket is actually made from, I put the paper back. It's paper that looks like a basket, weaved basket. And you cut that out, pop the rim around the basket, make another section here and pop it. And then I did like a whitewash. Again, I used watered down chalk paint, brushed it over. So it kind of looks, distressed. I cut a bow out from the stencil that comes in the set. The baskets from the stencil. So the rabbit was like this. You can make them looking forward or backward. And then you have the basket, which is like weave pattern. And then I take this part right around the rim and I just trace that. And when I go to trace it, let me show you what I do. Hold on here. It's a little trick that I do. So you've traced the basket. Now you want to add some dimension to your basket. So what I do is where that trim is, I trace it on the ends and I trace the top part. And then what I do is I bring that line back down and trace it again. And I connect them. It's a little off here, but I connect them and I just cut that piece out like so. And after I cut it out, I ink it and then I pop it up on top of the basket that I have cut out already. That's a little trick there. I like to take my templates and kind of take them apart or add layers to it. So that's something I do there. As far as the bow goes, again, I would trace the bow. Okay. And let's just say this is the bow on pattern paper, whatever kind of paper you're going to make the bow out of. And I want to center in the bow. Well, wait a minute, I didn't finish it. I want to center in the bow, and there's really not a piece here that makes the center. So I want this piece here popped up. So what I do is I take the center of the stencil of the bow and I do the top and the bottom line, and then I turn this and I connect it and I add the side in and I go to the other side and I draw that line. And then I have the shape that will fit in on top of the bow here. You can use the same color, different color, whatever, but as you can see, here's a green bow. That one is harder to see, but here's a green bow. I don't know if you can see the dimension on it. If I turn it sideways, I gotta give it a second here. Okay, yeah, you can see the dimension where I popped it up. And then I just drew some lines in it to make it look like a bow. But I used the pink color. I wanted to pop out the pink from the other piece here. And then as far as the eggs go, again, I got pattern paper that was from the set. Here's those roses that were in this one. And after I cut them out, again, I put this mixed with water and did a whitewash on top of the eggs and the carrot. I added an enamel heart for the nose and a little bit of the flowers that the bunny's holding again. And I think that's it. I have both pieces again are kind of made to match. So one can go up top on the tier and one can go on the bottom. Again, I'm going to use the green as the base, and I think they would go well with that. Because I like to add a little filler. Otherwise, they're kind of sinking. Like if you have a lip or a side depth of the tier, might be 2 inches deep, might be an inch. I thought this would really go well with it. So you will see that tomorrow in a post. Okay. Although I don't know when I will get it posted. I have a funeral to go to tomorrow. So sometime, maybe I can get it done before I leave. Any questions? Let's see. Hello to Beth and hi Sharon. Let's see. Beth, yes, I have been busy. I'm always busy. Beth asked linen. What is that in reference to linen? Oh, the paper, I'm guessing. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just like it slipped my mind. What's that paper called? Mulberry paper. There you go. It's called mulberry paper. And it's nice that you wet it, and that's where you pull it apart and it can take on the shape of where you wet it. And that's what I did there. But other than that, we've got both sets here. We've got this set and we've got, let me move it out of the way. And we have this set. So let's hope maybe you guys want to give it a try and try some of the templates or try some of the different techniques that I have here. Like I said, get your different textured paper. A lot of times they're on sale at some of these stores because people don't know what to do with them. And just use them as little tiny add-ons just to add a little sparkle or something to your page. Same thing with the crepe paper. Look at things. I remember I've used styrofoam cups and cut out dies with them, and it kind of flattens and seals the edges. And that's just look at different materials and try your hand at playing with them. Well, let me see. All right, guys. I think that's going to be it for tonight. And hopefully this will be up tomorrow and you can tell me, I'll do some detail shots of it so you can see it up close better than just here. So good night, everyone. Thanks for coming to join me. I hope you learned something from this or want to go out and try it. All right. Have a good night. Bye-bye.